Good evening, students. Okay, we'll move on to the next topics of the functions. Okay, so in our previous class, we just checked the what is a global access and local access. So global access is nothing but the variable which is defined outside the function is called as a global variable, and it can be accessed in any of the function. Okay, and these variables has the global accessibility throughout the or different functions of the program. Say for example, if you are declared any variable with the name of the same as global variable, then it hides the global variable. Okay, so that in this local scope, the variable A is only has in the existence. Okay, this global variable is hidden with the local variable. Okay, so that inside the function we have the A value as the 10, but outside the function we can access the global variable and it has the value 11. Okay. So this is the global variable accessibility. Say for example, if I want to access the global variable inside the function, okay, even the local variable is defined with the same name. I want to use the global variable also. Okay, then I can use a global keyword. Okay, global keyword. Okay, here I have a value a equals to 11. Okay, and will be declare the variable. We can access the variable with a global keyword. So within the function, we'll write a keyword as a global and a variable. So a is the variable which is a global variable. Okay, so that whenever I am accessing a equals to 10, okay, here this a is treated as a or global variable. Okay, and assigns the value as 10. So it replaces the value of 11 with the 10. So whenever you display the variable, you will get the 10 in the inside the function. And whenever you come out of the function, okay, the variable value is already modified as the 10, so that outside the function also you'll get the value as 10. So whenever you want to access the global variables within the functions, then you can use a keyword as global keyword, and using that we can access the global variables within the functions. Okay. Next. Next concept of a functions is recursive functions. Okay, these recursive functions we also have in the other languages C, C++ and others. As the same way here also Python also support the recursive functions. Okay, a function which calls itself is called as a recursive function. Okay, so this is actually used in place of iterative statements. Whenever you require the iterative statement without using the iterative statement, you can use the recursive functions. Okay, and this is also useful in the different data structures. Okay, so where we need to repeat the complete function code for more than once, there you can use the recursive functions. Okay, so the function call which known as a itself is called as a recursive function. Say for example, I want to find out a factorial of a number. Okay, so this we can do with the iterative statement or we can do with the recursive functions. Okay, say if I want to find out the factorial of the 3, okay, 3 factorial is 3 into the factorial of the 2. So in general, we can define it as 3 factorial is the 3 into 2 factorial. Okay, so then we need to find out the 2 factorial. 2 factorial is 2 into the factorial of 1. So next we can write the factorial of 1 as 1 into factorial of 0. Okay, so factorial of 0, we know already the value of factorial of 0 is the 1. So here it will substitute the 1, and 1 into 1 is the 1, and this is substituted here as 1. Okay, and this 1 into 2, so we'll get the 2, and that is substituted here again. Okay, we'll have the 2 here, and this is the 3. 3 into 2, 6. So finally we'll get the result of the factorial of the 3 as the 6. Okay, so this is generally we'll do in the maths also. Okay, the same way will here you used in the recursive functions. Okay, whenever you expand it, this will be like this. So 1 into 1, 1 into 1, the 0 factorial, 1 factorial, 2 factorial, and into 3. Okay, 3 into 2 factorial is this, 2 into 1 factorial is this, 1 into 0 factorial is this. Okay, these all are substituted and multiplied so that we'll get the final result. Okay, so this can be written as factorial of n as the n into factorial of n minus 1. Okay, the same is the recursion process. Okay, so like this we can write the required function for the recursion. So factorial of n, if n equal to 0, then result is 1. Okay, else, okay, else result equals to n into factorial of n minus 1. Okay, this result is returned from the function, return result. Whenever the n becomes a 0, then result is the 1 and that is returned from the function. If it is not 0, then we will calculate the n. N is the current n value of the function into factorial of n minus 1. That is again we are calling the same function with the n minus 1 value. Okay, say for example, here initially you are giving the 3. Okay, here it substitute the n value as the 3 and n minus 1 value is the 3 minus 1, 2. Okay, with the 2 value it calls again the function. Okay, now the value of n is 2. Okay, again it checks n equal to 0, it not n equal to 0. So now in this copy, that is here, it creates a number of copies of the factorial functions. The first copy of factorial function has the n value 3 and second copy of a factorial function has n value 2. Okay. So in third copy of a factorial function has n value 2 minus 1. So 1. And fourth copy of the factorial function has 1 minus 1, that is 0. Okay, whenever you are going to in this copy, okay, n value becomes a 0, so result becomes the 1. Okay, this 1 is returned back to its previous copy. Okay, this is called from like this. Okay, so from the 2 it calls a 1 and 3 it calls the 2. So the the result is returned back to here and this is multiplied with this 1 into 1. The result is again 1. Okay, from this the result is 1 and this result is returned back to here. Okay, here it multiplies the 2 into the returned result is 1. Okay, 2 into 1, this 1, 2 into 1, the 2 result is returned back to here. Okay, so now it is multiplied with this 3 into 2. Okay, now it becomes a 6. 6 is returned back to your caller of the program. Okay, so this is the process of the recursion. Okay. Okay, here a fact for I in the range of 1 to 5 factorial of I. Okay, here we are printing the each and every number factorial by calling this function. Okay, so it shows all the factorials. So without using the iterative statements, we are using only if else statement and we are writing a iterative related program. Okay, so here in the recursions, it makes a different copies of the functions. And these copies of the functions are remained in the memory until unless we are not completed the execution of that particular copy of the function. So whenever you pass the n value as the 3, then it has to reach up to the 0. So it creates a 4 copies of the function. Okay, whenever it is 0, the result becomes a 1 and it is returned back. Then it closes that particular copy and return to previous copy. And after executing the second one, then it closes the function and returns back. And again, it executes the third one and returns the result and closes the copy and the final one. So initially first opens all the copies of the functions and in the back, whenever it reaches to the termination condition, then it closes the one by one function and returns back to its previous copies and closes the functions from the memory also. Okay, next. So next type of functions are anonymous functions. Okay, the functions which are defined with the required code but without having any memory allocations or without having any name of the function. Okay, those are called as the anonymous functions. It doesn't have any particular memory for the function. Okay, those functions can be called as the anonymous functions and those are created with the keyword lambda. Okay, these can also be called as lambda functions. Okay, so we can also define it the function which is not created with the def keyword is also called as the anonymous function. Okay, generally the anonymous is nothing but the function without having any particular storage and particular name for the function. Okay, so this is generally used to create the small functions with one line of a code. Okay, only those type of functions we can create with the lambda keyword or lambda functions. Okay, so it takes a more than one argument, but it can return only one value from the lambda function. Okay, we'll see the how it will be executed. Say for example, I want to find out the square of a number. Say if you are defining like a function like this, def square of x return x square. Okay, it's having only one simple line of a code. Okay, for this we need not to write a defining of a function and writing some line of a code. So without that, we can simply write as a lambda function as lambda x. X is the argument for the function. Here we don't have any name. Lambda is only keyword. X is the parameter for the function, and that x value is substituted here and it finds a square. Okay, so whatever the statement here you are writing, that is returned from the this particular function. Okay, after the colon we'll write the required line of the code, and that line result, the result of that line of code is returned from the function. Okay, so we need not to mention the return statement also. Say for example, if you want to assign any name for these lambda functions, then you can write the lambda function name, lambda function with a required argument and the required statement, and that you can assign to your required variable. So then you can use that lambda function with that variable name and required parameter. Okay. So otherwise we can pass the values to the lambda function with the adjacent to the lambda function itself we can pass the value so that it executes at the same time. Or you can do like this. Okay, we can store into a variable and using that variable we can call the lambda function. Okay, these are the anonymous lambda functions. Okay, so the application of these lambda functions are in the another functions where we require the code to be applied with as a function. Okay, that is we need to use a one function in the another functions. Okay, there we have use of a lambda functions. Okay, one of such use is map function. Okay, map is a function which uses to apply a function to the a list of elements or a sequence of elements. Okay, so here it has the two arguments. First argument is the function, second argument is the required list of the numbers or sequence of the values. So the first parameter function is applied to the sequence of the values. So whenever you want to apply a function to the a list of data or list of elements, then we can use the map function. Okay, so this actually the which is this is generally used whenever you have the data is not having that type of a function. That is whatever the function we are writing. Okay, the function is not directly to be applied on that data. Okay, then we can use the map function to apply the function to the our required data. Okay, this is the syntax of the map function. Map of function comma sequence. Okay, the sequence may be a list or maybe a dictionary or maybe a tuple or maybe a set. Okay, it applies this function to this sequence and the returned value is stored into a required variable. Okay. Next, here the sum of functions like this. One is to calculate the Fahrenheit value of the T, another one to find the Celsius value of the T. Okay, so here we have a list of elements, list of temperatures as like this. Okay, now I want to apply the map of Fahrenheit comma temp. That is on the the temperatures, the list of temperatures. I want to apply the Fahrenheit function. And as in the same way, I want to apply that is whatever the result here I am getting is the F on this for this F list of values. I want to apply the Celsius function. Okay. So these are the some of the examples of lambda functions end with the map. Okay. check all this and practice these functions.